So hello everyone, I am Aurélien Acquier, Professor of Sustainability at ESCP Business School in the Paris campus. And basically what I wanted to do through this video, it's a video I've been wanting to do for a long time, because my experience with master thesis is that I'm keeping repeating the same things over and over again, and there are some fundamental questions that really we need to be set before we enter into the discussions of your own topic. So actually the idea of this video is really, this series of video is really to dig into the exercise of what is a master thesis and give you really the tricks of the trade so that you have all the elements to do a successful master thesis. You have the right advice and you know where to look for academic sources, how to build your research question, what are the typical mistakes you should not make. And so I'll try to make this video as practical and really advice oriented as possible. So let's dig in. So actually what we're going to do through this video is to cover different points, right? So first I'll give you some information about the master thesis, what it is not, do's and don'ts, what are the things you should do and what are the typical mistakes you should avoid, and also make it as practical as it's possible. And so the different steps that we'll be covering is, how do you define your research question? What is a research question, by the way? How do you frame it? And how do you frame it with academic sources? So we'll have a discussion on the different types of sources. What are business sources? What are the academic sources? What's the difference between each? And how do you find academic sources, and how do you conduct a literature review, right? We'll also discuss data and methods so that you're better able to choose the right methodology for your work, and then give you some recommendations about how to write your thesis, right? Because you'll see that the typical structure of a research thesis is always the same, so it's important to clarify that from the beginning, okay? And I may do some extra video on what makes a research thesis great. Okay, so let's dig in, and in this first video it will be an introduction about what is this master thesis exercise, what are the expectations and the basic ideas you should have, right? So maybe to start with these expectations, it's best to start with a definition. And the most obvious definition that you will find in the document, and that I think is a precise definition of what a master thesis is the following. So a master thesis is an original research document built around a research question, grounded in the academic literature, using data to answer the selected research question in a structured way. I agree it's a fairly complex definition, but so let's split it down. First, master thesis is an original research document. It means that it's based on personal work, right? And actually, if you think about it in terms of competencies, master thesis will be really the proof that you can work autonomously and independently and build your own contribution on a small question, right? It's built around a research question, so it immediately raises this issue of what is a good research question, and it's an important question that we'll try to explore, right? What is a good research question, and what makes a research question good? It needs to be grounded in the academic literature. So this raises another question, which is, what is an academic sources and how does it differ from other sources? And when I talk about other sources, we may think about journalistic sources. We may think also about business sources. So for example, a market study, is it different from an academic sources, and why? We'll cover that. You need to be clear on that, right? Um, and also master thesis is using data. It's using data to answer the selected research question in a structured way. So here the very important aspect is, yeah, what type of data you are going to use, and what about the quality and the relevance of the data used. And this is all about the methods, right? So this is a very, very central topic in the debates, okay? Before we dig into the different aspects of your master thesis, I think, well, from my own subjective experience, so maybe that wouldn't be true for all professors, but if I think about the previous years and the different master theses I've been supervising with the master students, there are really typical mistakes that you want to avoid, right? And if you do them, if you fall into these mistakes, there won't be any surprise. Your final grade will be weak or average, and also you'll be a little bit frustrated with your work yourself. So that's something I've been experiencing. So let me list these typical mistakes you should avoid. First typical mistake is writing an essay, right? Some students think that this exercise would be an essay on sustainability. For example, if you're interested in sustainability, why is sustainability the future for business and the next imperative, etc., etc. So here you understand the point. It would be overly broad, and this type of essay with point, counterpoint, synthesis, this is not what we're asking through this master thesis, right? So that's really, really important to understand. It's not writing a personal essay. Second element, also, it's not a business review where you just compare practices on a specific item without theory or without academic sources. So it's not a business review, it's not a consulting study, right? Also, it's not a summary of an existing topic, right? So you will see in a minute what it is, but it's not a business summary. Second usual suspects when you have like weak or average work is that there is no clear research topic. You know, the research question is hard to find, or the topic is very broad and it's not formulated with research sources. Third problems that we may come across is no link with management research. Don't worry, I'm an open person, and actually management research is at the borders of other disciplines. It can be based on psychology, on economics, on research in strategy, in sociology as well, anthropology. So I'm very open-minded about that, no problem, but at some point there, as you will see, management research builds at the crossroads of these different traditions, and you have to build on existing research in management since you're in a business school, right? Another problem is the lack of academic sources, or the fact that sometimes there is no distinction between professional journalist sources and academic sources. So it's really important that you make the difference and that you show it also in your master thesis. And last problem that we often encounter in this type of situation is a problem related to methods. And sometimes there is simply no methods, so then big problem ahead. So no or poor methods or poor data as well. So it's really important to think about the data and to think it early in the process of developing your master thesis. So if we try to regroup these typical mistakes, there are two big issues we'll be working on. First, three mistakes are related to a poor framing of the research question. So actually in the next video we are going to spend a lot of time on this point. You know, how do you frame your research question? And second element is also related more on sources, data and methods, and this is why the other video will be precisely on that point. So that's it for the introduction, and let's meet again in the other video about framing your research topic.